The only thing I've seen is on the catalytic converter, which is sort of under the bike. That's quite rusty. I got the impression when I first saw it that maybe it had been moored in a harbour somewhere. Right, good morning everybody. Hopefully this is going out on Saturday. I've had to do some sort of emergency recording this morning on my Triumph, just to make sure I got some content for the weekend, because the weather has been absolutely atrocious. It's been showering and thundering and all sorts, and I've just got this little gap in the weather. But guys, windy today, really windy. Anyway, that's enough of that. So, what are we doing today? God, I can feel the wind on this lid. Amazing. So I'm out on a bike that I've been wanting to ride for ages, and I managed to get hold of this Royal Enfield Meteor 350, and I've wanted to get hold of one of these because it's one of those bikes, you know, I've seen these so often out and about, and when I see them, when I've been doing my tours and things, I've seen these sort of getting on boats and all loaded up with kit, and they just look really good. You have to keep looking at them. I think, what is that? What is that? Looks really good. And you realise it's just a 350 Meteor, and it's got all these bags on and panniers and stuff. And I always thought people look really, really comfortable and sort of happy on their bike. It's like this little unit that they're riding around on, and as if they, you know, they're sort of ready for anything. They got their whole life on these bikes, and they just, for some reason, just look really good. So I thought I'd get hold of one. Which I have, and it's nice because it's the first year that they made these in 2021, and this bike's got 18,000 miles on, so it's just nice to sort of have a bike which has, you know, been running, well running and well used, and see how it actually fares after all that sort of period, and see what it's like. So let's go and have a look and actually see what I'm on, and we'll have a chat about the bag. So here we are, the 2021 Royal Enfield Meteor 350. It's very windy today. God, the weather's been terrible, but I was really wanting to get out and do this on this bike today. So I don't know what you think about these bikes. The styling I was always very in two minds about, but again with a lot of bikes, it's the colours that you put them into. I'm not a huge lover of black, but I used to like the yellows. I think the yellow looked really good in these bikes, but I just thought it'd be really interesting to get on one of these and just have a play with it and just see if it actually surprises me. And you know what? It really has. I've been riding this about today. Do you know what? I've had an absolute ball. It's been such an easy, lovely, comfortable. It sort of like gives you a bit of a hug when you get on it, and you sort of want to ride it and you want to go somewhere on it. Do you know what I mean? You get on it, you just think, oh, I just want to go on an adventure now. I want it to take me somewhere, and I like that. And it's that I say this on the ride round, and that it just makes me feel like it's like a Packhorse. You put all your kit on, because as I said, I've seen so many of these bikes when I've been on tours that, you know, people have got their riding kit on and they just look so comfortable and sort of happy, as if they've sort of worked it out. Do you know what I mean? You know, you get this thing with the bigger the bike, the more crap you carry. I'm always poking for GS riders. I will get a GS one day. But you know, the bigger the bike, you know, you tend to put more and more stuff on it. But the people that seem to ride these, they seem to have worked out that, you know, you don't need all that kit, you know, to have little adventures. You know, you can, you know, they're the sort of people that come up with the saying of, you know, well, one pair of underpants lasts 4 days, isn't it? It's, you know, inside out and back to front. And it's so true, isn't it? We pile on our kit. We get more and more and more kit when we should be scaling back. And when you've got a bike like this with the limited power, you know, you've got to be really lean and really critical with what you do and don't take. And I think that really when you do end up getting a bigger bike, if you want a bigger bike, you sort of think, well, I've got all this extra space, don't need it. It just trains you into, I think, a better way of travelling. Oh, let's say a different way of travelling. You know, because people love carrying lots of kit. But I just think these small bikes and these Meteors in particular, I just see people riding them and it's like they get it. They've worked it out. You know, it's about the experience, and it's about looking at the scenery, isn't it? You go on a ride to experience all of it. You can taste the air, which you don't get in a car. And with a bike like this, which loves chugging along at 50, 60 miles an hour max, you get to take all that in, and I think it gives you a different experience. And the other thing is you're riding along, you're doing, 80, 90 to the gallon minimum on a bike like this. You've got a good sized tank. You've got the little creature comforts that you want, the centre stand. On this bike in particular, it's got heated grips on it, it's got guards on there. I've got the raised screen. All those little bits, the engine bars. And you feel like you're in a nice little contained unit, don't you, with a bike like this? I'm so glad I got to ride this today, because it's really made me realise that this style of bike just works. It works in the modern era. And I think, as I said, when you have a bike like this, which, allows you to, if you're getting a bit older, a bit more infirm, that it allows you to ride for a little bit longer, because it's easy to ride, it's easy to get your leg over, it's easy to wheel around. The suspension is far more forgiving. They're just great bikes. It's a really good piece of kit.
So what does it actually ride like? Well, not really as I thought, to be honest with you. I thought it'd be very similar to the Hunter and the Classic, sort of in its, I don't know, just in what the feel I'd get from it. But I've said this before about Enfield. They've managed to use the same platform but produce three totally different bikes, because the Hunter is nothing like the Classic, and this is nothing like either of them. It's a real different experience riding this, and it gives you a totally different feel. And I think that's where Enfield have really sort of done so well, haven't they, with their bikes? They really know how to sort of produce a bike that has a different feel within their range, because they're only really using sort of 2 or 3 platforms, aren't they? You've got the 650 platform and you've got this 350 one. Gloves keep coming undone. And I just think no wonder it's such a successful bike, and why people like it, because you could get a sense that this would be an incredibly easy bike to live with. It sort of reminds me of my I've had a few smart cars over the years, and although they're tiny and very individual, they're so easy to live with. It's amazing what you can fit in them. But just getting in and out and whizzing around and parking easy. And this is the same seat, it's a great size, it's a great height for anybody to use. And that video I did about, choosing your last bike, how to keep yourself riding for a bit longer, and this falls into that category 100%. It's a bike that you could use that will keep you riding for longer, because I tell you what, it's an easy bike to ride.
The seating position is very nice on this bike, but it is something you have to get used to, because it has slightly forward controls, but you do get used to the heel toe. I remember when we were in Goa and we had the Classics 350, the Signals had the heel toe on it, and I found that I didn't use it because it didn't encourage me to do that, because obviously the leg position is slightly different, or the foot position. But on this, because it has got slight mid controls, I'd say, it is much easier to use the heel to go up and then the toe to go back down without any doubt. But it is a very comfortable seating position. And with this bike being, 2021, so this is the first model year, looking around the bike, I think it's fared pretty well. Now, this bike in particular, this was a trade-in to Billy's. So somebody was upgrading their bike. They got a much bigger Triumph in the end. But this has been well looked after. It's got a full service history, 18,000 miles, So it's got a full history, documented history with it. So it's been really well looked after. It was somebody's first bigger bike when they come off a 125, and they've really looked after it, you know. And in terms of bits of rust and stuff like this, there's not really much on here. The only thing I've seen is on the catalytic converter, which is sort of under the bike. That's quite rusty. I got the impression when I first saw it that maybe it had been moored in a harbour somewhere, but you know, it's just a bit of surface rust, and that will come off. But all the other bits that have been put on here with the heated grips and stuff like that, you know, everything seems to function great, and it just right. There's no sloppiness in it anywhere. And reliability-wise, we know about the J series engine, don't we? Really. I mean, it's a scientific fact, and it was in the latest scientific journal that, you know, if there is a nuclear war, the only things that will survive the only thing that will survive will be cockroaches and J series engine Enfields. You know, these are the only things that will come out the rubble, wouldn't they? So, you know, and that is scientific facts. You can look that up anywhere. So, you know, it's one of those bikes, a turnkey bike. All my Enfields that I've ever had have all been turnkey bikes. You just switch them on, click, and away you go. And they always have a very reassuring sort of chuggy thud, isn't it? I don't know how to say that. It's just a really nice sound, a very reassuring sound, and you know it's always going to start.
As I said in the walk round and the sort of static look, it's just reminds. I don't know why. You know, when you see something and it puts a descriptive name in your head, and this thing about Packhorse, I don't know why, and it probably means nothing to anybody. But it's a sort of bike that, you know, people can saddle up and just ride off. Do you know what I mean? It's that. They're cruisers. This is the baby. It must be the cruiser's day out, blimey. It's one of those bikes that you just feel like you could just throw a saddle over, you know, your saddle bags over, and just go on a little adventure, you know. And you know, with me and Karen looking to do some more of this sort of like camping and stuff, it'd be an ideal bike for that. It'd be such a lovely little thing to take around. It's got that, I don't know, sort of part American cruiser, part sort of British classic. I don't know. This is a sort of bike that's all things to all people, isn't it? And I just think, you know, when I was talking about that, the thing about having a bike that you can end your career on, this is just great, isn't it? It gives you that different sort of buzz that other bikes won't give you, but in a package which is, as I said, dirt cheap and ultra reliable.
So to sum up on this bike then, Enfield Meteor 350, is it a good bike, and is it something, you know, it's worth looking at? I think without a doubt. I've loved riding this today. I think it's been an absolute joy, and it's so different to the others. Don't think that the 350 series of bikes that Enfield have are similar in any way. They are all so distinct from each other, and I think that's a great trick to pull off that Enfield have done. And they're such good value at the moment. These, particularly the Hunter and the Meteor in their first guys, are really good buys at the moment. And as we get, you know, through into winter, you'll see, you know, some of these bikes will come up and they'll be incredibly cheap. But there you are, yeah, the Meteor 350. Bit of a surprise for me, and I've actually really, really enjoyed this. Right, take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Oh, the confession. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. You know, I said that Billy's had this as a trade-in. Yeah, they offered it to me. So I bought it. It was too cheap not to. And when I say cheap, it was really cheap. I won't give you an exact figure, but it was more than 1,200 and less than 1,400. They know my weakness, my kryptonite. But I'm glad I bought it, and this will be the bike that's probably going to go to France now, and not the Kawasaki. But we have still got the Kawasaki, by the way. Anyway, yeah, it's mine. God help me.